Clearview Home Inspections. Today I got TJ Pinkerton with me, and we're going to be talking about our easy to read reports that we'd like to get out to you the same day of the inspection, if not the following day. With us is Gene Tomarello from Geist FC Tucker, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he likes about our reports.
Well, the thing that I like most about the report is they're very easy to read. They're very easy for my clients to read, but yet at the same time, they're detailed enough to make sure that my clients have a full understanding of what defect may have been listed in the report and how they could find them and how they could reference them. The best part about that report is it not only has the body that gives you the detailed information about any defect that might be there, but it's got a numbered summary for every one of those items that's listed in the report. And that summary kind of categorizes them as being very critical or low in priority, and maybe just a maintenance and something that you just have to monitor on a normal basis. In any case, it's a great educating tool for my buyers, and I find that to be a tremendous asset for them. More so than anything else, when I sell a house and I use that report, it makes it very easy for me to discuss that report and the items that are important to us with my buyer. And that just saves me time and frustration. So I look forward to having the Clearview Home Inspection report whenever I get one.
Gene, how often after a client comes back to you with our report, do you see return calls where an issue was missed that we need to come back and reevaluate a situation?
Well, I can't remember that. It's happened, I'm sure, but I can't remember that it being an item that's any concern of mine. And usually, in many cases, when something like that happens, it's maybe a confusion on their part. But in maybe the instances where that may have happened, I've never had any problem calling you guys and asking to go back out and check something that may have come up. And I just don't feel it's an issue. I don't feel it's a problem.
Now, we don't often see you at an inspection on site. Is that because you just don't go to inspections, or is it because when we're on site you feel that it's probably not needed for you to be there, that we're going to take care of the client?
Yeah, there was a time when I used to go to all inspections, just like there was a time I would show up regularly to every new construction, once a week, just to take photos of the house and maybe bring donuts to people.
Sure.
But I found more often than not that the more people that are there that don't need to be there, the longer the inspection takes because there's a lot of distractions. I feel pretty confident that when an inspection is being conducted and my clients are there, that I've briefed them on what they'll expect to have happen, and that the inspectors are going to provide them with the information and the guidance that's necessary. And more importantly than anything else, I don't want an inspection to take more time than it has to. I remember days where an inspection would take place and the buyer would bring mother and father and aunts and uncles, and then you got a whole swarm of people running around the house, and all those people end up just becoming more of an interruption to the inspection. So I always tell my people, husband and wife, that's fine. All the other strap hangers, leave them at home. So,
We appreciate that.
You do recommend the client to be there at the beginning of the inspection to follow us around, or do you prefer them to be there, show up at the end, and us throw everything on top of them?
Well, I like them to be there for the entire inspection. Again, more so than anything else, I want them to be there so as you find something that's worth pointing out to them. And as I tell many of my clients, when you're there with that inspector and you're there alone with that inspector, a lot of times that inspector's educating you as the buyer on some minor maintenance issue or preventive maintenance issue. How often do you change the filter? How well your furnace will run if you change the filter frequently? And more importantly, how do you get that filter out of there? I don't know how many times, I've been apprehensive and hoping that the buyer wasn't gonna ask me how to do it, but they've said, yeah, the inspector showed me how to take that out, it was right there, simple thing. And those are all very important for that buyer gaining the confidence in the purchase that they made. I don't want them to be apprehensive and frustrated over what maintenance is gonna be a burden for them. If it's made simple for them, hey, this is a piece of cake. If you drain this water here once a year, you'll preserve the life of the water heater. That's an inspector that's passing that information out while he's looking at the water heater. And it didn't cost him anything to make that comment, and at the same time, it could save that buyer a lot of money because it might be something that they'll now practice, which will prolong that water heater. So it's things like that that I'm counting on that inspector to do for my buyers, and they're expecting it as well because I kind of brief them on it. So
I agree. I think that buyers should be with the inspector at the beginning to learn all those things you just talked about. We're seeing a lot of realtors have them come in at the end, and it's too much information at one time for them, and not able to educate them on their biggest investment and how to overcome the issues. I think it's extremely important. I love my job. I love educating people these things, and they just seem to absorb it and understand it. And I think at the end that they're ready to go close on that house and get moved in and get to the hardware store and get their supplies and repair some things themselves. Not all, but some. But I really think that's important.
I agree. There's nothing about buying a house that's inexpensive, especially these days. So that home inspection can be some of the best money that you spend when it comes to finding the right home that you know you can live in for some sort of longevity.
which is also the reason why I like my buyers that are building new homes to have the home independently inspected. I know that there's a lot of people out there that say, gee, it's a new home, why do I have to have it inspected?
We hear that a lot.
I have found in many cases that the items found wrong with a new construction home can exceed those on a home that's only 4 or 5 years old.
Yes, sir.
And then at the same time, I've found homes that are only 4 or 5 years old that I've sold, we've had inspected, and there are items wrong with the home that would have been taken care of had they had that home independently inspected prior to them going to closing on their new home. Contractors are like anybody else. They're humans, they can make mistakes, they could be forgetful, or they could cut corners, who knows? But that inspector, in my opinion, on new construction is also gonna give that buyer peace of mind in knowing that the house that they envision in their mind that they're buying, that new house that they envision that they're buying, is the house that they envisioned them buying.
Exactly.
And that it is free of any problems. And there's nothing better to go to the site foreman on that new construction with a report and say, hey, here's some things that the inspection uncovered that we'd like to have taken care of, and we'll have it re-inspected if necessary to ensure that these things are taken care of before we sign for the home.
Thank you, everybody, for sitting with us today to discuss our reports and reporting style. Thank you to Gene Tumbarello for being with us today to talk with us. Remember, for all your inspection needs, call Clearview Home Inspections.
317-578-0890.
Clearview Home Inspections, advising you on your biggest investments.